Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Bring the Thunder podcast. Today, we have a really fun idea here. I'm not going to explain it too much. Savir came up with it, so I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to him. Savir, take over.
All right, what's up, Thunder fans? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to be diving into a March Madness style bracket where we decide the greatest moments in OKC Thunder history, from legendary playoff moments and performances to insane game winners. We picked 8 iconic moments and put them head to head in a battle for the top spot. And the best part is we'll be deciding via votes on who will move to the next round. How it'll work is we'll kind of just decide between, let's say, the Westbrook MVP buzzer beater or, let's say, KD's final clinching Game 6 run. We'll see if there's a underrated moment that has like a Cinderella run here. Let's get into the matchups and see which moment will take down the greatest in Thunder history.
All right, sounds good. Let's get into the first matchup here.
So we've got the Westbrook's MVP clinching buzzer beater against the Harden's Game 5 versus Spurs. Let's start with that first.
I agree. Two great moments there. Joe, I'll let you get into it. You seem like you got something.
Yeah. I just wanted to start with the Harden's Game 5 game winner against the Spurs way back in the day. What a shot, what a moment in OKC history. Giving the ball to the sixth man down the stretch and him just getting buckets, and especially getting a step back three on Kawhi Leonard before we really knew who either Kawhi Leonard or James Harden really were. So awesome moment, something I'll always remember. And I'll just leave that at that for now. And then moving to Westbrook's MVP clinching buzzer beater. Hard to top. It's the 1 seed for a reason. I mean, almost near half court, pull up three. Just
it's one of those
twitchy three.
It's one of those remember where you were when it happened type of games.
Yeah, staple moment. I could actually tell you exactly where I was. That's a funny thing, because I'll remember it forever. But staple moment in OKC history, staple moment in Westbrook's career. So my vote, I'm going to vote for Westbrook's MVP clinching buzzer beater. Even though I'm not saying Harden's shot wasn't amazing, but Westbrook's was better.
I'll go next.
Yep.
So we're kind of deciding between, Harden, who was a third option at the time, versus, an MVP buzzer beater. It's feels like a pretty easy decision, and when you kind of break it down in that sense. Harden was really important to us in some of those series, but he did also come short in a couple of the moments that we needed him. So for me, I'm going to go with the Westbrook clinching buzzer beater. What about you guys?
All right, Landon, you can go next.
Yeah, that season was something else for Westbrook to hit a buzzer beater against the Nuggets, basically clinch the NBA and break Oscar Robertson's triple-double record all in one game is just insane. I don't really think Harden's buzzer beater was great, but there's no topping that.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody made a good point here. I really agree with what Joe was talking about with how good Harden's game was. Obviously, that was something to witness. But the thing that really gets me with Russ's buzzer beater, obviously the entire situation was incredible, but it's got to be the call for me. What a perfect ending to a historic. I mean, that was such a good call, man. That was just. It was like the call was exactly what the Thunder fans were feeling. Like it was the most perfect ending you could have. You couldn't have written a better ending in that scenario. So that game will always go down as one of my favorite moments in sports history. So it's like Joe said, nothing against Harden. I love what he did for us. That Game 5 was something else, but you're just no David versus Goliath this time.
Yeah, and it's just just one last thing on this. It was just such a Westbrook type of game winner. It was like so ugly. It was a line drive right to the rim, but it just dropped, and it's hard to top that.
Yeah. Other thing that was kind of underrated about that was he's clinching that shot, clinching the MVP, eliminating Denver at the same time. Yep. I mean, there were just so many factors, and along with the commentary, we have to mention the crowd pop in that moment.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like we were all dreaming at that point as Thunder fans, and everyone in the arena was probably dreaming as well. It was just like one of the craziest moments in general. Like, this is a top 4 moment in NBA history. So
yeah, just crazy stuff, especially after all the things that like Magic and LeBron had been saying about how no one will ever beat that record. And it's like, not only does he beat it, but he pulls that off. Like, come on, man.
yeah, we can move over to the Paul George Gatorade game winner back in 2019 versus Philly. And then we also have the SGA Clippers game winner. I mean, this is a really tight battle, 4-5 seed. That's exactly why they're kind of seeded this way. Joe, I'll let you start it off.
Yeah, this one wasn't as hard for me, surprisingly enough. Paul George's and 1 in Philly, and 1-3 for the win. And his MVP caliber season was such a sweet moment. I mean, he was on fire the whole year, and he was just, especially during that little stretch where in Philly, in Houston, we had some tough games, and he was going nuts. Gave me a lot of hope for that year. Unfortunately, it didn't end the way we all wanted, but awesome shot, especially for Paul George because he gets a lot of trash. But you go back to that OKC season, he was pretty clutch for the most part. And then we got the SGA versus Clippers game winner. I'm going to choose the Paul George game winner just because it meant a lot more to the team, I believe, in the moment. OKC was actually competing. It was a close game against a top Eastern Conference team. A Sunday ABC game, I believe, maybe a Saturday ABC, something like that. But it was on national television, so I'm going to give it to Paul George.
That makes complete sense. I would say like SGA's shot was pretty incredible, and it kind of showed his future state. Like, there was a lot of moments in SGA's career where we're like, okay, this guy's gonna become something, especially if you're a Thunder fan. But this PG game winner was just against a playoff caliber Sixers team where he's top 5 in MVP, top 5 in DPOY. I mean, also, as you mentioned, the degree of difficulty. He also hit kind of that amazing pose, and then he had the Gatorade commercial as well, if everyone recalls that. I mean, it kind of just made it into a classic moment for him, and I think it was his highest peak that he's ever hit in his career. So it kind of topped off his moment as well in the regular season. So I'm going to go with the PG game winner as well.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go for the 4 seed here. Shai was just trying to solidify his dog status that he can win in the big moments and hit buzzer beaters, but PG was trying to collect moments for his MVP case. So an MVP case is a lot more than a rising star case in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, Savir kind of mentioned it. These two are obviously seated here because they're both, I mean, in terms of impactfulness, they're both pretty high up there. They're both just really awesome moments. But what helps me kind of go as well with the 4 seed here is just kind of the situation that the game was in as well. Philly was a team that we didn't have the best chemistry against. Russ and Embiid especially really going at each other nonstop. But what did it for me with this game was, if you guys can recall, what happened right before the buzzer beater was just the disaster turnover where Jimmy picked off the pass immediately and just scored. And it was like the worst feeling in the world. But there was also that feeling, and I don't know if you guys felt this too, but the second we got that ball into Paul George, I was like, literally, as the commercial says, ball game. Like, I just knew, dude. Like, I just was so, it just hit his hands. But what also does it overall is it didn't need to be a 4-point play, but it was just like that much sweeter. Like the 4-point play, knocking down the shot. Like, and as you guys know, we got into an argument about this last time, Joe. I really like Paul George. So that shot was just kind of like the overall, just so much joy. Like, yeah. That was just a crazy one for me. So that's such a good one. So yeah, I got to go that one.
You're better than me because I was holding my breath when that shot went up. I think what makes it even sweeter was that he did make the shot instead of just knock down 3 free throws.
Absolutely. Because it feels like a bailout.
Yeah, it feels like a bailout. It's just a better feeling as a fan.
He laced that. I mean, that was
one of the better game winners in OKC history, I will say. I know we have a lot that we'll do this again. But especially during that season, what a stretch he was on. I got to go with Paul George.
Yep.
Yeah, makes complete sense.
Back-to-back sweeps.
Yeah, we can move over to the KD versus Spurs game 6 in the Western Conference Final versus the Russell Westbrook Nipsey Hussle 2020 game. Oh my goodness. I mean, Joe, go ahead, but I can't wait. Can't wait.
Yeah. So I'll start this off. Listen, Russ's 2020 game will forever be in the history books. It's going to be hard to top that, even though Jokic kind of did this season. But just as a point guard, having 20 rebounds is just unbelievable, right? So I'll forever remember that game as well, because that was a TNT game. That was a nationally televised game as well. Very inefficient game from Russ, though, I will say, on the offensive end. But yeah, I've loved that game. Going to the 2 seed, I'm actually going to take the 2 seed here. I know we're going to have a few disagreements, but listen, KD, 34 points, 14 rebounds, 5 assists to go to the finals. Nothing was sweeter than the moment where he dropped a nice bounce pass to Kendrick Perkins. Perkins turned around, slammed it, and KD puts his hands up in the air like, we did it, right? He's going over to his mom, hugging the family. Mind you, there's still time left on the clock, and we're not up by 20, but they just knew it was over. And till this day, I'm forever chasing that feeling of going back to that NBA final, especially in that moment. So for me personally, I got to go with the KD game 6. Because listen, at the time, the Spurs were obviously no joke, and they were forever as good or even better than we were. So to make that jump against the Spurs and head to the finals,
shout out LaMarcus Aldridge.
I got to go with KD. I don't know about that Aldridge, but
yeah. Man, I feel like for me, I'm going with the Russ 2020 game, just as a huge fan of him. And it's something that, like, he said before the game that he was going to do, and the other team legitimately couldn't stop him. I feel like that's kind of been Russ's career, where he's like, I'm going to do X, Y, Z. Why not? And still make it happen. And he just made it happen. I honestly, before the game, I was like, all right, this guy's got to be kidding around. Like, there's no way. And then post game, it's like, what the heck? Like, this man just went ahead and did something so historic. And that's how it felt when he had his back-to-back triple-double seasons, where it's like, it's just so unbelievable that it's truly hard work over talent when it comes to him. Like, just pure hard work. So I got to go with 7 seed here.
Yeah. That with the number 2 seed, that was kind of the we're here moment for the Thunder. We're a small market team, but we mean business, and wish they could have won the finals that year, but that Miami team was tough. And then for Westbrook, I mean, just to talk the talk and walk the walk. I mean, did it for Nipsey. I don't care if a guard drops 0 points. To drop 20 assists and grab 20 rebounds as a guard is just ridiculous. And I mean, there's not many players that can say they could do that. So I mean, I got to go the 7 seed here.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the KD versus Spurs game 6, I mean, that was something different. That was incredible. All of us, no matter how much we claim to hate Kevin Durant, we loved him to death at the time, and it was an incredible moment. I like the way that Joe worded it, still chasing that feeling once again of just, I mean, that it just felt, it was just that feeling that as a sports fan, you want so bad, because you know that, like, you know what just happened. It's just something else. But as a sports fan as well, the reason I love this game is Russell Westbrook. Waiting and hoping that he was going to crack it, and watching every single play as if it was like game 7 of the finals, just waiting for Russ to get another assist, get another rebound. I mean, and you could have put 100 people in front of me telling me how much of a stat pattern he was being, and I would have just not. It would have been meaningless, I mean, it was just such a awesome thing to watch the guy who single-handedly got me to love the sport achieve something that was just so unachievable. I mean, it was so cool, especially with, Russ has never been a liked player outside of OKC. He's always had people against him. So it was just awesome to see him knock that one out.
Absolutely.
All right, we got the last one here.
Yeah, we got the Thunder 2-1 comeback against the Spurs as the 3 seed. And as 6 seed, we have the Thunder win in KD's return. Oh, my goodness.
I guess I'm starting this one off again. Man, that win 1 year out with Melo and Paul George when KD came to town was phenomenal. Another ESPN game, wiped them, was awesome. But I got to go with the 2016 2-1 comeback. I don't know. There's so many moments in OKC history that I will forever remember and cherish, but that series, especially on the road, was something really special to me. Westbrook's and one at the end of a road game to close it out. I can't really, I don't know if there was a better feeling than that in the more recent history. Westbrook killed that series, by the way. He was going on. He was unbelievable that series. We had Cantor and Adams going in together. Dion Waiters off the bench. I love that team, man. Give me the 2-1 comeback. That was awesome.
Yeah. I'm gonna kind of go in the same boat as yourself. I'm looking at the scores right now. Game 1, 124-92. The Spurs beat us. Next game, 98-97. We won against the Spurs, and then they came back in game 3, beat us, and then from there, game 4, we beat them. Game 5, beat them again. Game 6, beating a team that had, I believe, 67 wins in a massive playoff moment trumps how much hatred I have or had at the time for Kevin Durant. Like, no matter how much I wanted to win that first return game against KD, beating that Spurs team was just a ridiculous moment. Like it really put the Thunder on the map where we got a lot more respect moving forward. And so that's the moment that I'm going to go with.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment one more thing. What you mentioned, just with the Spurs, just such a great team for so long. And we had our back and forths with them for years, multiple playoff series. Every regular season game was a big game. So it just made it that much sweeter because when you beat when they beat that Spurs team, there's not a lot of better teams in the league that, when you say we just beat the Spurs in a 7-game series, that's a really good feeling because it truly solidified OKC as one of the top teams in the league. Did they blow it the next series? Yes. But talking about that series alone, one of the better playoff series in OKC history.
3 seed here, we got the Thunder's 2-1 comeback against the Spurs. That was a big one. That gave us playoff hope, showed that maybe that team could go on, win the finals. And then for KD to return to just see Thunder fans so united and hate, putting up cupcake signs. Westbrook playing with a fire under him. You know how bad he wanted that win. That one was great too. This is a great matchup. Probably arguably the best matchup on here, but I think the playoffs just carry more weight, and to see a Thunder team come back at 2-1 against a Spurs team, that was great. A lot of talent on that Spurs team up top. I think you have to take the 3 seed here.
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys all made good points overall. However, I will say the thing that really does it for me with the 3 seed being the winner here is you kind of mentioned it, Xavier, with how good that team was, having so many wins. But what did it for me is they were 40-1 at home that season. The one loss being to the 73-win Warriors.
That's a great poll.
And
that's a great poll.
And we beat them at home not just once. I mean, to beat that team at home more than once was like the equivalent of feeling like we just damn near won the finals that was incredible. That was insane. And another thing to mention is, do you guys remember how big of underdogs we were? I mean, we were getting dogged on. Like people were saying that we were going to get swept, we were going to lose in 3. I mean, it was not a fun series at the beginning. I mean, we dropped that first one and it was like, oh, here it goes. Like, it was just like, I mean, I didn't feel, I'm not saying I felt that way, but it was just kind of like this is not great. We pull off that game 2 and it was like, okay, like there's some hope here. But I mean, just beating a team that was 40-1 at home is unreal, just an unreal feeling. So taking that game was just kind of, it was surreal. You know, it didn't feel like this was really happening.
You mentioning that stat, that's another great pull. Like Joe said, like I recall that stat being brought up
so many times.
Like, man, and to come back and win the way we did, it was just awesome.
It was insane. I mean, it was obviously like what followed was just terrible, but what happened, I mean, this was almost bigger than what happened. Like, seriously, like this was such a big like feat for us that it felt it looking back on it, it was so much more meaningful than losing in the next round. Like, it was just
for sure.
To beat that Spurs team, man. And that team was something else. Like, every year, I think it was Joe who mentioned this, every year that Spurs team was relentless with Pop coaching and all of, I mean, that it was just
Parker, Duncan, Ginobili.
I could just talk about this. I could talk about this comeback by itself for an hour. It was just insane. Being able to win those 2 games against San Antonio and really feel like we were doing it. And another thing to point out, I don't mean to go on with the hate, but like Joe said, this was Russ's series. This was not KD's series. Right. He wasn't terrible, but he was not. This was Russ's series.
Like, Russ definitely elevated, and he always has elevated in the playoffs. No matter how much hate he gets about the regular season, anytime you put Russell Westbrook in a playoff atmosphere, we're going to see it this year with the Nuggets. Yeah, I mean, he's going to absolutely pick up his numbers. He's a playoff riser, like regardless of what anyone says.
He gives 100. He gives 101% in every regular season game. He gives 120% in every playoff game. I mean, he plays like if he plays like he's just gonna not be alive the next time. Like, it's like it's his last basketball game ever, and that's something to watch, especially in this series. So
I just wanted to say one more thing about this, and then we can move on. I don't want to go on a tangent here, but one last time, outstanding poll with the 40-1 at home. But
thank you.
What this series was to me was exactly almost a carbon copy of what 2012 that series looked like. So it really got me a bit emotional. A bit emotional and a bit like what's the word I'm looking for here?
Nostalgic, maybe.
Nostalgic. Thank you. Because we started off 0-2 in 2012, but came back at home. Blah blah blah. You know how it went. But this series, we got our ass kicked in the first game as well. I mean, those first 2 games in 2012, we got our asses kicked, like bad. So this series kind of resembled the same exact series that it was in 2012, and what a series, man.
Yep. All right. Well, with that, we can go ahead and move on to the next round with our winners. We have the bracket already set up for the next round. So, Satvir, you can go ahead and introduce the next ones.
Yeah. For the next series that we're going to break down is the Westbrook MVP clinching buzzer beater versus the PG Gatorade game winner. I mean, man, what do you think, Joe?
Yeah, Westbrook, 1,000%. Listen, you heard me talk about what I felt about Paul George's game winner, but Mr. 30-point triple-double MVP season. Yeah. Like I said, the shot that should have never went in, but it's Westbrook, so of course it did. Storybook ending, the call, the game, going into the playoffs. That team was something special because it was our first season without KD, and there wasn't many people around Russ to make that team win. So I got to go with Westbrook. It was just unbelievable. And that was like Landon said, that's a game that like you remember where you were, and that was an earlier game too. So it was like I got to enjoy that the rest of the night, the rest of the day, the rest of the night. It was awesome.
Yeah, we've broken down both of these plays. I think the thing that I'm going to mention about this, I'm going to go with the Westbrook buzzer beater here. But the reason that I'm going to go with it is for a regular season moment, this is going to live in possibly the top 3, no matter what happens in the rest of Thunder history. It's going to be a top 3 iconic regular season moment for us. Like no one's ever going to forget this. And that's why it has to go next. Like, you know, PG, great season, his best season ever. But Westbrook putting that final exclamation mark on his MVP season, pretty easy choice.
Yeah, to do 3 things in one game: eliminate the Nuggets from playoff contention, solidify his MVP case, and break Oscar Robertson's record. Thank you for your time in Oklahoma City, Paul George, but something about that buzzer beater is just special. You got to go with Westbrook's here.
What a season.
Yeah, I mean, as I've already mentioned, love PG, loved his time here. It's not even gonna come close. I mean, again, Russ is the reason I love the sport. Basketball is one of the most important things in my life, and Russell Westbrook's the reason for that. So this was like the pinnacle of, I mean, people say there's still hope, but people say he doesn't have a ring. I don't care. This was his ring to me. Like this setting that record is more meaningful nearly than a ring overall, because it's something that's probably not going to be touched. Jokic needs to relax, but it probably won't be touched. I really hope, but you know what I mean? Like this is the kind of record that we had arguably the greatest point guard of all time, Magic Johnson, laughing, saying that this will never get beaten in the history of basketball. And for yeah, you guys know what I feel about this. I could go on way too long.
And it's just one thing for a point guard of his size, right? He's about 6'4", 6'3", probably 6'4". It's hard for those guys to be the best player on the team and go win championships, right? So just for him to contend, and you know, a team with Oladipo maybe as his second best player, Steven Adams, just to even make it as a 6 seed.
Yeah,
outstanding season, man. Legendary season. We'll always be thankful for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and transition us over to the other side of the bracket, where we have the 7 seed versus the 3 seed. Russ 2020 game versus the Thunder 2-1 comeback against the Spurs.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the 2016 comeback. It was just like the 2012 series, like I said before. And it was just super special to beat the Spurs and go on to the Western Conference Finals, where we should have won. Westbrook's game, the 2020 game, will be in the Hall of Fame. It'll be OKC history, but possibly the best, if not the second best, playoff series win in Oklahoma City Thunder history. So give me that one.
I'm going to have to go with the 7 seed, Russell Westbrook's 2020 game, in my opinion. I know how much that moment meant, but being only like a semifinals playoff game versus a moment that a 6'3", last I heard he was a 6'1", best rebounding point guard I ever saw. Just taking a play out of Shai's playbook here when you mentioned J-Dub being 6'4", but truly, I mean, Russell Westbrook is the best rebounding point guard ever. And this game kind of just solidified that for everyone. It's like on any given night, he can just say like, hey, I want to grab 20 boards. And for whatever anyone says about stat padding, no one else I've seen in NBA history can go say, I want this stat line and I'm going to go get it. Like there's rare cases like Kobe Bryant, who's like, I want to score 81, I'll score 81 or something like that. Or like Wilt, obviously could do whatever in his era that he wanted. But there's only a handful of guys that we can say that have that ability. And to have 6'3" guards say he has that ability is ridiculous. So I have to go with them.
Yeah, there's so many notable. The thing is, there's so many, like, okay, yeah, Russ's 2020 game at the top, but Russ had so many notable games that you can look back on and be like, wow. But there's not many times you can say your team beat arguably, I mean, your team came in as an underdog in a playoff series against a Spurs team that was what, 41-1 at home, right?
40-1.
40-1 to get absolutely smacked in the first game and then to just carry the adversity and come back and win that series. I'm going to have to go with the playoff series here.
Yeah, I mean, Dever, you make a really good point talking about obviously like Russ going out, just getting whatever he wants. That's insane. I was thinking, funny enough, another player just to get whatever they want is actually Shai. Go out, get however many points he wants. I just thought that was funny to mention that. But, I mean, this is the tough thing about this matchup, and particularly the 3 seed in this scenario is the horrible ending to that story. You know, like that's – but – the thing that I have to think about here that really helps me make my decision is we're putting the individual moments against each other. So I need to not think about what followed. And if I'm thinking about just the moments themselves, the Russ 2020 was insane. Beating that Spurs team at home was crazier. It meant more. It was more impactful to me as a fan. It just hit harder for me. So.
Yeah, that was my mindset too. I wasn't thinking past that series. I was thinking
I gotta try not to. But it's hard to look at 2-1 comeback on Spurs 2016 and not instantly be like, how'd that go? Like that's it's hard not to think of that. But
yeah, that's a great way of describing it, where we're just looking at it just in its vacuum.
You just gotta.
For me, it's hard to just look in a vacuum. So
yeah, I get it.
And when I look at Westbrook, it's like, man, like that's my go right there. So
I get it, man. It was really close.
Yeah, it's definitely really close. Yeah. All right, we can move to the next.
I'll say one last thing on that. Thing. Just for me personally, I already said I got the series, but say Westbrook was like 7 of 10 from the field instead of what he did in that game, it might have skewed my answer a bit differently. Just putting that out there.
I'm sure a lot of Kobe fans feel the same about a lot of games. So,
right,
great players still shoot a lot, but I get what you mean. That was, a little inconsistent.
I could care less.
All right, on to the finals.
All right, so we've got the Russell Westbrook MVP clinching buzzer beater against that Thunder 2-1 comeback. At this point, we've talked about all of these plays and moments pretty much ad nauseum right now. So let's just go ahead and make our final predictions and picks.
Yeah. I'll start this off real quick. I'm going to go with the 2-1 comeback. It's the last time we've been, that close to what we want. And, we haven't gotten to that point since 2016. So it's been about 9 years. So I got to go with the 2-1 comeback win.
Yeah. I'm going with the Russell Westbrook MVP moment. I mean, I don't know many other bigger Russell Westbrook fans than myself. Like, I feel like I acclaim myself that way. All my friends growing up knew that I had a very specific bias towards him, and I feel like it still carries on. And that bias grew, especially with the Kevin Durant scenario. And, social media wasn't what it is right now, but I'd probably have like a Russell Westbrook muse by now. I'd probably have like, I don't know, like 1 million followers if what he was doing back then, if it was in this moment right now, like I'd be rocking his jersey and everything. So got to go with him.
I feel you. I mean, I'm definitely up in that category as well. I mean, I'm a white dude who tried to copy Westbrook's haircut when it was low when I was in middle school, and I went into school thinking I was rocking a nice haircut. It looked like an absolute moron. So
the faux hawk.
But yeah, dude. But that didn't turn out too good. But I still got to go with the series winner.
Maybe if the 3 seed here was the Thunder winning the Western Conference Western Conference Finals and dancing to the finals, I would pick that. But since it's just the Western Conference semifinals, I think Westbrook's moment has the edge. I don't think it's one of the best moments in just Thunder history. I think it's one of the best moments in NBA history. I got to go with Westbrook.
I mean, yeah, this is like the final of all time. Like, this was such a meaningful series. I keep talking about that. But again, I also have myself in that category right there with you, Satvir. Same thing. If you ask my friends when I talk about Russ, they might as well stop arguing with me because I'm just going to admittedly be wrong and tell them I'm not wrong because I'm not. Russell Westbrook's the greatest point guard to ever play basketball. So, yeah, I hate to say it. Well, I just said this is the final of all time. The Russ buzzer beater is like 10 times better of a feeling for me. Like this was my Super Bowl. Like this was my championship. Like this was the greatest. I'm not gonna say the greatest moment of my life. That's crazy, but it was up there. That tells you a lot about my life, but it was up there, man. Like it was.
Dude, honestly, I'm not gonna lie, Gabe. I'm right there with you, man. Like,
dude, it was
with
up
the
there.
amount of like ish talking that I had from all my friends.
Yes,
and to have him solidify it in that way, it's like no matter how much hate he gets from like Lakers Nation, Clippers Nation, whatever, and the way they're trying to bring him down.
Yeah,
there's more Russ Glazers than there are Lakers fans. Like, I don't even. That's a ridiculous statement to make, but I swear, like the amount of cult following this man has because of who he is and how he does things.
Yes, I was just about to say who he is the biggest thing. Like it's not even Russ as a player that does it anymore. Like it's just the guy the man. Okay, I gotta chill.
Yeah, you got it.
I was about to break down like
you got
the type of man. Like
you gotta chill.
For real though. Like Russell Westbrook is just different. Like this was such a meaningful moment. Like it's not close for me, unfortunately.
Well, I'll try to break it down without going as crazy as Gabe was just about to, but the player and the guy himself is probably what all made us like real OKC fans and we're Russ guys, bro. Like of course we're OKC fans, but I think when we introduced ourselves when we first started doing the show, at least 3 or 4 of us were like, yeah, why are you an OKC fan? Russell Westbrook. I saw this guy play once, and I mean, goddamn, like, that was it. And so obviously, that's gonna push this, and I'll keep that to that instead of going on like Gabe was about to.
All right, man. Come on. I stopped myself. All right,
the man,
dude. He's just a great guy. Like. But okay, funny enough, I really just real quick, I will say where that was going to go. I was just gonna say in terms of like as a person, how hard it was to have Kevin Durant leave and not talk. Like that's such a difficult thing for someone that was so close to him. Like to bounce back and have that MVP season and have this buzzer beater, like what it symbolized was so much more than just breaking a historic record. Like it showed that he was his own player. Like nobody gave him that. He wasn't his own player. He was always KD's sidekick, always. And it specifically it just makes me think of like the moment when that buzzer beater happened and when he broke that record, it was like there's just no more argument. Like you can argue with a wall. Like it's just the adversity that he showed to have that season. It was just crazy. And that was like the moment.
There's not many moments. I also want to piggyback off that. There's not many moments where you have top level talents like this, and I'll specifically go to a guy like Kyrie Irving, where he's known as more of the LeBron sidekick. He never could pull away from that. Right. And it's very rare that you have top level talents like a Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, Harden that are all kind of joined by nature, and that each of them can pull away and form their own names as MVPs. I mean, it's really special. It's really special. Like
absolutely,
Thunder culture is really special, and I think Russell Westbrook is like Oklahoma Thunder culture. Like that's what he represents. And then that carried on to this next generation. We have J-Dub who constantly retweets, reposts TikToks of Russell Westbrook. And then he recreates moments like Russell Westbrook. We have, Chet and all these guys, Shai goes up to Russell Westbrook after every post game. And even in the game, they're, laughing and joking. And, that's how much he means to the past Thunder fans and to the future Thunder fans for where he laid that foundation, after KD left. And there's not many players out there that can give you that feeling.
No.
There's a lot of franchises like Dallas right now. They lost Luka Doncic. They don't have a guy like Russell Westbrook that's going to carry them through that.
What you mean, bro? They got Max Christie.
All right, we gotta end it off there.
There was hold on. There's two things I wanted to mention real quick. That you just kind of sparked in my head real quick. One thing that you just mentioned that got me thinking was you talk about Russ being OKC. What is this? The 13th time he's returned to OKC, and he gets the loudest standing ovation for any returning player. And that's not like if you didn't know anything about the NBA, you would think it's like his first time back every time. And that's how much this team cares about him and the fans care. But the other thing is how much he cares about the city of Oklahoma and that in Oklahoma City. And that's what's so meaningful to me. Like, as you guys know, like I'm not even a resident of OKC, but like, it's just so impactful. Like, that's what I mean is like, he's just the other week, he like donated a load of money towards Oklahoma City. And he just is consistently doing that. The dude hasn't played here for years. And it's like, it's just so
he's investing in a soccer team. I mean, he's constantly investing in the growth of the actual city itself.
Yeah, and that's beyond basketball.
He's always been beyond basketball. Even in his own hometown in LA, like he donates there as well. Yeah. Like everywhere he goes, he just leaves a mark. And it feels like from like a trolling fan base perspective, they bring him down without looking at him as a man.
Yes, that's where I was going.
There it is.
There it is.
Yeah. I wouldn't be shocked if after he retires, he has a statue in OKC, and two, if he has some sort of role in the franchise.
You better have a statue, or I'm actually
we're gonna build it ourselves.
We're gonna build it for real.
I mean, I'm sure the whole city will help build it too. So
absolutely.
Yeah, with the new stadium, I definitely think he'll be getting one here.
He better.
He retires pretty much. And I also think he still has maybe a year or two left, and I can see him coming on as a minimum player.
Oh, I hope
within these next 2 years. He's up for his contract this upcoming summer. So
I'll do that right now, Xavier. It's going to bring a tear to my eye. It's going to bring.
I gotta make the predictions now. So Sam Presti may be listening. You never know.
Dude, I'm so serious. I would get so emotional if he signed with us, dude.
No, I can't handle that.
We can't talk about that. Okay, well, with that,
hold on. If we win a championship, he joins us. Then we win another championship.
Stop, dude! I'm gonna start. It's. I can't even put that thought in my head.
With my heart, man.
I can't even allow that to be in my head.
I'm putting it there.
All right.
I love the thought of it. I love the thought of it.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we're gonna go ahead and end the episode there. Our winner being Russ's just outstanding MVP clinching buzzer beater. We hope you guys did enjoy this concept because we can absolutely do it again. As you guys know, as OKC fans, there are countless moments, and we just kind of went through and chose some here to have them, but there's still other great moments for sure. So let us know in the comments if you guys think there's certain moments that we should be including. Maybe we'll have you guys help out, or at least throw in your 2 cents. So as always, thank you guys for listening to the episode. I don't know if anybody wants to close us out. Joe, I guess you can. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. We might be doing this again because, there's so many great moments in this. Just, 16 years of a franchise. So
something like that, yeah.
Yeah, but Thunder up, baby. Let's go.
Oh, okay.
Let's go.